Previously, it used to take 10 years to go bankrupt. Nowadays, new tech companies are disrupting any industry within a couple of years. Why do you want to open brick and mortar, or why do you want to create any human company when you can create an computer-based company which operates 24 hours a day non-stop and does not complain? I found people who were even crazier than I am, which technically I knew their ideas wouldn't work, but I still kept them because I said if they can deliver 10% of what they sold me, it's good enough. The first year, technically, we spent $500,000 and we made $1,000 of revenue. This is often a mistake an entrepreneur makes because he's extremely emotionally attached to the company.
Welcome to another episode of BaytCast. It's an immense pleasure for me to be here in sunny Beirut with the amazing high energy Roger Zaccar. Roger is the partner to Allah Compare, the founding partner at Common, and has been a member of the board of commercial insurance. He's at the nexus of insurance in Lebanon and increasingly across the region. And I'm super excited today to learn more about his journey. And thank you so much for joining me here today, Roger.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure. Roger, maybe we can start off with a bit of a story of how you evolved yourself and your business from a pretty traditional industry, which is the insurance business in Lebanon, and in your case, I think a family business, into a high-tech regional play within the insurance space. I'd love to hear a bit about that narrative.
Indeed, we were chatting a bit. One of the main things that stuck in my mind is the Kodak story. And in 1978, Kodak created the digital photography.
Yeah.
But they were so scared about disrupting themselves that they managed to go bankrupt.
Yeah.
We come from a family...
and having been the absolute leader in its field in much the same way that BlackBerry and others went from being the absolute leader in market share to nothing in almost no time.
And we've seen it, and it goes faster and faster those days. Previously, it used to take 10 years to go bankrupt. Nowadays, new tech companies are disrupting any industry within a couple of years. And I think more and more we're going to see it in 6 months. It's like any new techs.
Everything's accelerating.
Tremendously.
Yeah.
So I come from a traditional insurance family business. We've been in the insurance, or my family has been in the insurance since 1935.
Oh, wow. That's
and
approaching 100 years, yani.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing. So that's multi-generational. It's not just your father, it's
my grandfather. So it was started by my grandfather. It was started in 1935 in Egypt. And then they moved to Lebanon when amazing. The nationalization took place, and created or established the new insurance company, which was back then commercial insurance, in 1962.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens that all what we discussed across the home was insurance. It's from my grandfather to my father, and everything was lunch or coffee talking about insurance and insurance problems. So I grew up in that world, and I happened to be the third generation. And you have tremendous pressure on the third generation for two reasons. Because also, since ever when I was young, they tell you the first generation builds, the second generation amasses wealth, and the third generation destroys.
Yeah.
So I had those two things in my mind: the Kodak story, and this famous saying that they say in Arabic everywhere. So I had a huge
lot of pressure on your
So and coming from a family business which was anchored traditionally in tradition insurance. So.
And sorry, commercial insurance, by the time you joined the business, was a Lebanon-only business?
It was, the insurance company was, it is a Lebanese insurance company, but serving the region.
It did serve the region.
It's serving the region. So, and it was quite big. So I came in, and I like every young entrepreneur, I wanted to see, first of all, how can I expand the business? And initially, when you think about expanding the business, you think about expanding the business by opening new branches, opening new countries.
And at the time, while you were serving the region, did you have offices elsewhere, or was you were serving it all out of your Lebanon office when you first started?
We did have rep offices, we did have agents across the region, but one thing which is also important and which also, so I'm giving some, in the story I'm saying is I'm giving the tips that made me do what I wanted to do, is I wanted to go and build brick and mortar. So I wanted to set up shop. I wanted to set up a traditional insurance companies with big offices, waiting halls, operators.
Yeah. And this was what year? When did you join it?
So I joined in roughly in around 1998.
Okay.
And I grew up the ladder until in 2014. I had quite an experience, and I started to take a C-role suite, a C-role. And while reading something, it said, why do you want to open brick and mortar, or why do you want to create any human company when you can create an computer-based company which operates 24 hours a day non-stop and does not complain?
Yeah.
So when you put all the three stories, it's a bit about, how do you say, connecting. When you put those three stories, I went back and I said to my father, listen, I think I need to venture into creating an Insurtech in 2016. The first parts of Insurtechs were starting to show in the world. You had a couple of examples such as Lemonade, such as Souk El Mal.
Yeah.
There was a bit coming up across the world.
And again, just for listeners, when you talk about Insurtech, if you can help define what the tech did specifically in the world of insurance in each of those cases.
Definitely, and I'm going to give you today a scoop, because today, I think we're the first company that we're launching today in the Insur. So I think we as a company defined a new word which didn't previously exist in the insurance industry, which is the Insur, which is the insurance, the AI of insurance.
Brilliant.
But back then, the Insurtech was digitalizing the journeys, acquiring new customers online, and simplifying the process for the consumer. So I remember when we started our business, we used to go, if we wanted to buy insurance, either you had a broker or an agent who come to your offices and fills in the paperwork, or you had to go to the branch.
Yeah.
Whereas the disruption happened that the way you buy your insurance was completely online.
Right.
At your fingertips. And getting the exact cover that you wanted. You had the price.
And you had different insurance companies bidding for it, and you could look at the benefits of one insurance provided over the other. So from a consumer, it was wonderful.
Exactly.
And I guess for the insurance companies also, it was great because you had access to a larger audience and could bid for a lot more deals potentially.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But they didn't see it this way, and they still don't see it this way.
They see it as competition.
They see it as competition, or they see us. They don't understand it. And when we're going to talk a bit later on talent, I'm going to share, because we do at the end of the day the same job, but the way we hire or the way we talk to the employees is a completely different way. So we started by Insurtech, and this is where we started slowly, where we were first of all teaching the people how to go online, because somebody like let's say we used to go to a company like Bayt, and the first thing was don't go see the HR. We don't want, the HRs are very difficult people. We don't want to sell them.
Yeah. And to be honest, they don't even want to buy. That's not what makes them happy or excited. So it was thrown at them as a responsibility that they didn't enjoy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we said we want to tackle the employees. So we did the complete opposite of whatever traditional broker wanted to do. The broker or the agent wants to go to see one person sell a mega contract and make the maximum amount of money. We did the complete opposite. So when we asked for meetings, we didn't ask, the first thing they asked, do you want to sell us? We said, no, we just want to do an offer for your employees. Yeah. And so we started going to the companies, providing offer for the employees and teaching the employees how to buy it online.
And this was still now under the umbrella of commercial insurance, or was this the birth of Common already?
This was the birth of Common.
Okay. And sorry, Common, you got your dad who's been in this business since his dad, and you say, I'm going to come in and everything you're doing, I'm going to try and disrupt so I don't get disrupted. What was his reaction? And then, these businesses require quite a lot of funding. And when you go to traditional generation, you say, give me this check size to go build something totally new. More often than not, I find the answers tend to be, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So tell me a bit about that journey of going to him and saying, Baba, I want to do this, and Baba, write me a check or help support me to this amount, and what the reaction was.
It's very true. Luckily, I didn't have to go for him to write me a check because I was able to make quite a living by then.
That's great. And so you wrote your own check.
I wrote my own.
And you set it up as a separate entity from commercial insurance. So it wasn't that it was a subsidiary of commercial insurance.
I tried. Initially, what happened is I tried to shift the mindset of the company.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able.
Okay. So you tried within the company and khalas, you found that you had hit a wall. Okay.
I wasn't able and I wasn't able. And so what I decided, I think, was the right approach. So what I decided, what I have learned from family businesses, and is that by hearing the stories of family businesses, a lot of family businesses, you hear some successful ones and some failure ones. One of the family businesses I heard of was one guy was in love with the yachting business. So his dad was in the food industry and he didn't want to hear anything about it.
Yeah.
So he decided to go venture on his own, do this yachting business, and which became extremely successful in the UAE.
Yeah.
And then he went back and acquired his dad company. This is not what I'm going to do, but
Dad, beware.
but so when you hear stories,
Yeah.
so I said, listen, if
Their
this guy,
inspiration.
if this guy did it, so I went to my dad and I said, listen, Dad, we want to create something new. I completely understand if you don't want to do or disrupt the industry. You've been doing this for 60 years. It's very tough for you to change. Can I do it on my own? But we'll do it in a synergy, in a good way. We'll use the synergies we have in a good way. And actually he said, why not? And the first thing I did, and this is extremely important in any change or any disruption you want to do. Disruption or change or anything new is like when you have a cancer in your body. So the whole ecosystem, try to go and attack that new thing.
Yeah, the antibodies come at you.
Exactly.
The old stuff comes and doesn't want the new stuff there.
100%.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is put it somewhere under the radar so nobody sees it. Nobody knows it exists.
And so what did that mean? You moved offices?
100%.
Yeah. So went off into your own space. And tell me, we said earlier, we tie that a bit to talent. I imagine the family business had a bunch of people who had been there their lives.
Yes.
A lot of loyalty in these traditional businesses, a lot of people holding on to their little kingdoms. Did you take any of that team, or did you start with a brand new team? And how different were the characteristics, whether it was in job titles or age or otherwise, of what you were looking for in Common compared to commercial insurance?
Definitely, we moved to new offices, and so definitely I couldn't take any legacy employees that were at the company, which was very tough for me. So I had to start all over, and we had to create, because we didn't have a lot of money, so you had to create a fun environment. You know, when you're a startup, why is it fun?
Did you have a ping pong table?
We did. We did a PlayStation. But which is very true, is why startups are fun. Because you don't have enough money to pay them. So you need to compensate in another way. So we didn't have enough money to pay the staff. So we had to compensate in other ways. And this is what actually startups are fun, is you have to compensate in other ways. So we compensated by making the extremely fun, homey. Yeah. So people wanted to
And it was a younger generation, I imagine.
Way younger.
And mainly tech workers compared to insurance salespeople. Maybe is that did the job titles change a lot, or were they the same job titles but a different caliber of person?
Personally, I call them dreamers.
Yeah.
So personally, it was mainly dreamers.
Yeah.
It was mainly people who thought back then that they could change an industry that haven't been changed for the last 100 years,
Yeah.
and who had the will to do it. So it was based at we had a team of dreamers in certain fields, and mainly definitely because we're talking about tech. So mainly most of them were tech oriented or tech people.
So we were talking about Common and basically how you started it, again, went off into your own office, left the family business. The family business couldn't come to terms with you. And then the question was, from that starting point in Lebanon, I'd love to hear a bit about where the business expanded to, both geographically and in terms of people and in terms of what it offered. So you explained a bit about the technology you were offering. Tfaddal.
I didn't leave my job. I stayed. I was doing the two at the same time, because I had to have a source of revenue.
Yeah.
So I created Common. I was spending most of my time at Common, but I still had.
And self-financing Common. So again, from your salary, from your savings, you are putting that into Common and saying, I'm going to do this on my own.
Exactly.
Which is a true entrepreneur, yani. This is, I'm going to change the world, or I'll find a way to do it.
Exactly. So I had to have some sort of income. So this is what I did. And truly, when I say we had a team of dreamers, which we still do, a lot of time, when the passes, in a life of entrepreneurs, there's a lot of ups and downs. And a lot of times I was down, and it was the team which actually kept on pushing me. So a lot of time I say it's not just one person, it's sometimes the teams that gives you motivation.
And can I ask you if, I love this description of a dreamer. If I'm a startup founder and I want to hire dreamers, how do I identify a dreamer? So it sounds like an amazing thing, but no one writes on his CV, I'm a dreamer. So how were you able to find these dreamers who, even when you were down, were able to get you up and to support you? What did you look for?
What I was looking for, actually, I think I found people who were even crazier than I am, which technically I knew their ideas wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But I still kept them, because I said, if they can deliver 10% of what they sold me, it's good enough.
And you would identify that they were crazier than you and dreamers through an interview process, or by inviting them out to a nice meal and for seeing them socially? What was your secret sauce for trying to determine who would be the right person for you?
I think most of them, I got to know them socially.
Yeah.
I do, definitely, you do have a selection, but I think most of them, the question that I always ask myself, would I go to dinner with him or not?
Yeah.
So if the answer was yes, I would go to dinner with him, then he was the right candidate. So I always wanted people where I would invite home, which I would like to exchange idea with, and I didn't want to hire people which were employees that, once you finish the 8 to 5, you don't see them.
Yeah.
And you have.
And I love that test, the would you take them home test, and would you introduce them to your family? I think that's a great test of people that you're likely to work with a long period of time.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so again, when you think about how you expanded from Beirut, tell me a bit about what happened there. So
and some mistakes with it.
Yeah.
So in 2016, 2017, we started, we had this crazy idea that we wanted to disrupt the industry. So we really started with an MVP in August 2018. And it's, when you start something online, it's like you're constantly on the screen. It's like, why is no one coming in? It's like, where are you people?
I built it. They should be here. It's my dream.
Where are you people?
Yeah.
And I remember it's like, whenever I was seeing someone, you become very pushy. It's like, why haven't you downloaded? Why haven't you used it? Why? And so it was on and off until I traveled on New Year. And on the 1st of January 2019, I opened my phone and I saw 4 policies. And I remember telling my wife, listen, if somebody issued a policy on New Year's Eve,
that means I've got something compelling.
Exactly. And I think this was the trigger point which kept on going. But the first year, technically, we spent $500,000 and we made $1,000 of revenue.
Tough figures to look at.
So it was I mean,
Painful.
financially, it was like
Painful.
But I kept on going, and it was picking up. It was picking up exponentially, like it is still today. We're still growing by 20% months on months.
Those are crazy figures.
Still growing.
MashaAllah. That's amazing.
Yep.
Amazing.
Ever since. And then the first thing which we got hit was the Lebanese crisis.
Yeah. Of which there seems to be no end of there.
I'm not going to comment on that.
But when you say Lebanese crisis, it's very difficult to tell which of the Lebanese crisis, whether it's the poor invasion or it's whether it's Israeli bombing or which particular crisis.
Financial one.
So this is what year now we're talking?
This is 2019 because we really got it going on by end of 2018. We had the MVP.
Yeah.
2019 it was growing. We were seeing the growth,
and then the crisis.
And then the crisis came, and the crisis was extremely painful because we couldn't expand. We didn't have the liquidity. Nobody wanted to invest in Lebanon, and an insurance policy, the car insurance policy, which was at 65,000 Lebanese pound, which was back then $43, became less than $1. So our commission went from anything between $20 to cents. So it was extremely painful. It was terrible. And we were an online application where we wanted people to use their credit cards. Credit cards disappeared. So it was extremely tough. And here I can say we made mistakes, which I don't regret, but we made mistakes. Here we had our first investor who wanted to come and invest. And
during this crisis,
a foreign investor who wanted to come and invest, but we thought we had a bigger valuation. He wanted to invest a small ticket relatively, which was a 1.5 million. We thought it was extremely low. And so I think we should have taken his money because it would have helped us grow. Yeah. But we declined it. I think this is often a mistake an entrepreneur makes because he's extremely emotionally attached to the company.
Yeah, and a lot of entrepreneurs say take money whenever it's offered to you. The flip side of it is sometimes some entrepreneurs, and I'm one of them, say ownership is everything. Sometimes knowing that even if it's a smaller business, but it's your money, you're in control of it, it's your destiny without a lot of other people is also a different way of thinking about the problem. But go ahead.
Today I made peace with it, and I think I'm not emotionally anymore attached to the brand. So today I look at it at the business side. So if there's something which makes sense financially, I would take it. But back then I was extremely emotionally attached to it, and I said, I've invested like a couple of millions for somebody to come and take it for
nothing,
this little, and because of that, because I didn't have the money, I couldn't go to, back then, we're talking 2019, to Saudi Arabia. And our competitor in Saudi Arabia, which I have a lot of respect for them, became a unicorn.
Oh, wow.
So I don't want to, but I think we could have...
They listed already. They're publicly traded.
And a big shout out to them. They're called Ta'mini, and I think they did an amazing job. But we could have had a chance. Maybe
had you taken on the capital and expanded earlier.
And I think we made that mistake. But you shouldn't regret. You win some, you lose some. You should keep going. So, not having enough money. So you open the map. You say, "Listen, where I want to go next." And so I opened the map, and this is what I did. I think I said, listen, where should I go next? And I said, listen, across, let's start across the countries which are close by. And I said, oh, by the way, there's Egypt. It's like, you look at the figures of
Egypt. This is like going full circle. This is your grandfather started in Egypt.
Exactly.
It got nationalized. And here you are now going back into Egypt, probably 70, 80 years on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I look back, 100 million plus people close by, speak the same language. So we went there during the crisis and we established Common Insurance Brokerage Egypt. And I think this was my true learning curve because it was the first time where I was completely on my own, no financial support, it was on my own. And I really had to build the company with every single mistake that any entrepreneur or CEO does, brick by brick. And so we started building the company. And one thing I owe Egypt is that Egypt gave me the confidence to grow. We learned a lot in Egypt. We succeeded a lot in Egypt.
And let me ask you, a lot of people go to Egypt and get their fingers burnt. It's a very different market than any other market in the region. People often from the outside assume the Middle East and North Africa is a single region, but as you know, from city to city, it varies. What did it take for you to succeed in Egypt and with a new geography? So did you have to move there? Did you have to hire local talent, or would you send out your talent? I get this question every time about international expansion and how to do it right. So what advice do you have to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to grow out of their first geography?
Initially, we wanted to we wanted to take an Egyptian identity, but eventually I think any company should have one core DNA. So we one of the mistakes we made is like we wanted to adapt our technology to the Egyptian way of doing things, which was completely wrong. So what we did is said, listen, if we have succeeded somewhere, then we should have something right. So we kept on doing what we excel in. And this is the main learning I had from Egypt.
And did you move there? Did you send?
I did.
You did.
I did.
And so that must have been part of the key of success. It's just you being on top of the business day in, day out must have been tremendously helpful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I did. And definitely you have to move. You have to understand the people. You have to understand the culture. You have to educate the people.
Yeah.
People have to trust you. At the end of the day, any company has to have, it's like any human being. They have to know you. They have to trust you. Same thing with companies. It's human. It's exactly like humans. They have to trust that company and they have to see it. And this is how you succeed.
Amazing. And so from Egypt, so you went from a startup, leaving, again, a multi-generational family business. We spoke earlier, you're now 450 some people across a wide region. You've done some acquisitions along the way. Maybe you can give me the quick timeline of Beirut, Egypt.
Then we were called back on an opportunity in Saudi. So we go back to Saudi. And unfortunately, the Lebanese ties with Saudi back then weren't very good, which was, we extremely suffered. This is why it's extremely important for governments to, if they really want to help the financial ecosystem, they need to understand that we need to be in the best relationship with every single government. So we go back there, and we weren't in very good terms as Lebanese and Saudi. So they tell us, listen, we love your idea. Why don't you go and open up in an EU country and come back? Because once you have the EU label, it sounds better.
Yeah, you're respectable.
It sounds better. I'm saying all of this because it's extremely important for entrepreneurs to understand. You need to understand the micro and macro economics of every single country. And we made mistakes. So we decided to go to Cyprus. So we went to Cyprus.
Interesting.
We set up an office in Cyprus. And we were lucky. We went into Cyprus, but we were lucky that we discovered there's something about the EU, is that the whole EU is one country. So if you set up in any EU country, then you can operate in
Across
all of
the
the
board.
Unbelievable. So out of a small country in Cyprus, we were able to to sell all across Europe.
And you were selling.
And we
It
still are.
wasn't that, oh, wow. So it wasn't that
Still are.
Cyprus was just to go back and serve Saudi. You actually set up an operating entity.
We started we wanted to have an office just to go back, but what happened is that we discovered that we're able to serve like all of Europe, people coming. We were able to serve online people in France, in Italy, in Spain, in Greece.
Brilliant.
So it opened up. So we gained more. We were having opportunities we never had previously.
And is Europe a big part of your business today?
Definitely.
It is.
And we're very proud to say we work in 3 continents: Asia, Europe, and Africa. So I'm very proud saying that we have 3 continents.
Because I think also the regulatory environments in each of these places is very different, and insurance is a highly regulated industry. So, I mean, just going through those hurdles must have been
extremely.
difficult.
And often McKinsey has something which is they have 3 metrics to ask if what is a disruptor. Is first of all, are you able to disrupt an industry?
Yeah.
In any way, whatever it is. Second, are you growing? Are you scaling?
Yeah.
And third, have you covered your legal part? Because often you disrupt and you scale, but
then the legal part undermines you later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So once it's always wherever we go, we have those 3 benchmarks. We have those 3 benchmarks. Are we able to disrupt something? Because in certain countries they're quite advanced, but you need to be a disruptor.
Yeah. And so you're across 3 different continents, hundreds of people. The business has now been around for over a decade. You've in fact gone out and you've purchased businesses. So under Common, which started as a startup, you bought Yellow Compare, which is a recognized brand that I believe started outside of the UAE and was also insurance tech. So not only did you grow organically and across geographies, but through acquisition. Tell me a bit about when you sit with your dad today. What does he think about what you're doing?
I think he's extremely proud.
Yeah.
I think he's extremely
So he's come around to the fact that this was a good idea after maybe not having thought it's a great idea early on.
Definitely. I don't think that he always wanted to support me, because eventually I stayed at the company while making money out of
your son, and he wants your success.
Exactly.
Sure.
And often I say, people from the family business is, even if you want to venture on your own, don't I mean, it's not worth it to break the relationship with your family members.
Yeah.
Just do it gently. Say, listen, I want to venture. Do you want me? I want those 2, 3, 4 hours a day on my own to work on something. How can we work it out?
Yeah.
And it's, I think I did it in the best way. So I didn't, leave them in bad terms. I didn't leave them, actually. I said, listen, I believe that I can create something. It might work, it might fail. Just let me do it on my own. It's like if I was as if I was having a hobby, going fishing. Do you let me go fish on my own? And they supported it. And I often say, people, because I quite involved in the family business network, and I often say to people, listen, my advice, it doesn't work for everyone, but my advice, I think family is the most important thing. Because, at the end of the day, you need to have your roots somewhere. And the only thing...
And going back to this having roots somewhere, and I couldn't agree more. And ultimately, we build businesses to serve ourselves and our families and our communities. The Lebanese diaspora is, I believe, recognized all around the world as being highly entrepreneurial. So you see Lebanese people from Brazil to China, and they're building amazing businesses and they're growing them very rapidly. What is it that's special about this place? And it's a pretty small place that's been able to produce that type of a talent pool that is really all about going out there and building new businesses and going global.
Listen, I think it's about their stories.
Yeah.
I
But
think
why are their stories different than the stories of a lot of other people in the region around them? What makes them special? Are they special? Because I feel that in many ways, I mean, if you go anywhere in the Middle East, people will widely, if you were to ask who's the most entrepreneurial, I think most people would say it's probably the Lebanese. Why?
um, I think because when you sit with other, other in other countries or in diverse communities,
Yeah.
we in Lebanon, we talk about our diaspora as it's as we you have 12 to 16 million people outside of Lebanon, and you have 4 to 5 million in Lebanon. So and you always hear their stories, and everybody has an uncle somewhere who succeeded somewhere. So we grew up
With those stories of people breaking out and conquering
exactly.
the world, sort of.
Exactly. And what we're doing, what you're doing, the inspiration you gave people like me. I mean, Bayt was an inspiration
Thank you.
to a lot of entrepreneurs. I mean,
Yeah.
seeing successful, and I think if you are if you have the entrepreneurial spirit, I think if you listen to those stories, those are the stories that give you motivation. I love listening to stories about successful people, and they give you inspiration to do or to build it bigger and bolder and better.
Let me go back to the younger you, or a person who would have been in a similar situation, someone who's at university right now, about to graduate, and they have one of three choices. The one choice is to go work straight out of university with a family business. Their other choice, if they're lucky, is they also get an offer from a large, well-recognized institution. So one of those global brand names as an employee in a big company. And the third is they have this great entrepreneurial idea, which, they're quite passionate about and they think they can make a go at. If that young person came to you and said, Roger, I'm thinking of these three things, how would you steer that conversation and what advice would you give that younger person?
Um, I always say, there's nothing wrong in failing. I mean, people fail. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's how you get up, which is important. So, and the younger you are, the less failure is has an impact in your life. So I would definitely advise anyone initially go out there and fail. It's okay.
Yeah.
Part of growing up is failing. You cannot start walking without falling. So it's normal. So this is my first immediate reaction. Second one, related to family business, I always say to people around me which have family business, I always say two things. If you want to work in your family business, it's perfectly fine. But why do you want to learn on the expense of your family business?
That's a beautiful way of framing it.
Go out there, learn from the best, and bring back the best practices you've learned into your competition and add value to your company.
Let's go back to that same young Lebanese person, and this always seems to be a choice. I can get an opportunity here in Lebanon, and I might save a bit more money because I'm staying with my family and I'm familiar, or I can move to another country and I'll make more salary, but probably save a lot less because I need to rent a home, I need to get a car, etc. What's your sense about the level of opportunity and learning that you can get in Lebanon? Because you obviously have built an amazing career for yourself out of Lebanon without the need to migrate. You're still based here. And Taban, I see young Lebanese people in large numbers trying to leave Lebanon. How would you address that young person who's considering the job in Lebanon versus the job elsewhere?
I tend to see, when you see entrepreneurs in extremely poor countries in Africa, which become success stories, then I always say there's opportunity everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and I like to think, a lot of people told me, by the way, why haven't you moved elsewhere to live?
Yeah.
And I say, listen, there's we have an amazing country where exactly like you said, we make more money, and plus I say it's the land of opportunities. The less you have, the more you have to build.
Yeah.
So everything needs to be rebuilt in that country, or in countries which are around us. Everything needs to be rebuilt. Why wouldn't, if you have the opportunity to build them, why would you go elsewhere?
Yeah. We talked a bit about crisis. When I talk to my peers in the Western world, Europe or America, about the type of crises I've had to go through, they're always in shock. I was in a compound once on a visit to Saudi that was attacked, and the building that I was in was blown up. Our various offices in different parts of the Middle East have had to be shut down for long periods of time because of revolutions, changes of government, etc. There's all sorts of craziness, and people always ask me, why I still do it. And I certainly have a passion for it, and I love impacting the community in every way I can positively. But tell me a bit about how you manage these various crises. So you've recently in Lebanon had a few wars. And so bombing starts happening. I was just sitting outside in the courtyard. I hear a drone overhead. What do you tell your staff? How do you act? How do you keep things calm and going? You have a very special set of circumstances you have to deal with. So I'd love some tips on, because I think those tips are useful for an entrepreneur, businessman everywhere. You have extreme crises on how to manage the business.
Well, listen, I think what crises are made there to make you better, make you build better things, and also crises are opportunities because you have a lot of people who exit.
Yeah.
So it's you always have to see, and I don't know where, somewhere they say in, I think either in Chinese or Japanese, the worst crisis means opportunity. So it depends how you look at things. For me, I mean, as long as the safety of the lives is there, anything can be rebuilt. Whether if you have the will, you can rebuild your wealth, you can rebuild your house, you can rebuild whatever, as long as you're safe and you're healthy. So once you have those two ingredients, then I wouldn't be afraid of staying in a country. We had various crises. We had the financial crisis. We had the Beirut port explosions.
You had long periods of times without governments. You had
We had internet shortages, electricity shortages. But I think it's all about the gut. Is in everything. Everything is about long term. The gut. Do I want to take the easy way or the hard way? But the hard way is always filled with rewards. So for me and for us, the company was founded in 1962. So I've seen it, and I've seen that whenever there are dark days, there are sunny days ahead. I've seen before in 1989, 1990, the disruption of Lebanon, which was back then the darkest day, and I've seen the rebirth of Lebanon after the 1990s, 94, and I've seen the opportunities which came. So I knew that, everything in life is about balance. It's about karma. You have bad, you have the good. So if you had the bad, the goods are coming ahead.
You mentioned transitioning from insurance tech to insurance which was the AI version of insurance. How is AI changing what you do? And then to what extent are you able to find the skill set and talent pool that can help you navigate that change?
I look at it in two things. First of all, I think AI will free up a lot of our time to do things we love. So I'm not scared about AI. So this is, first of all, the mindset we have. Second, I believe that AI would do things probably better than what we do. I or we believe that probably the AI would be able to insure you better than I can. I mean, it can diagnose you better, it can serve you better, it can remind you better. So this is, we look at things in a completely, different way. We see as we're going to, AI gives us the opportunity to be there for you in a better way. So we truly believe it. How we're going to find the talent is, there is enough talent.
There is. You feel you have the people who can help navigate you to the next stage of your development.
There is enough talent, but it's a lot of, it's a lot, it's like when you're doing a cake. You do a recipe, it goes wrong, you do the second, it goes wrong. It's all about the coherence and the outcomes. So there's a lot of mistakes. You shouldn't be afraid of doing mistakes. We do mistakes every day. So we're doing mistakes, but we're learning. We're doing mistakes and we're learning. And I think this is the right approach to AI. And I think we're extremely lucky in that part of the world. For example, in Europe, it's very tough to work with AI. You have all those regulations, all those GDPR laws, DPO laws. You have all those laws which doesn't allow you to explore AI. And I think we're extremely lucky, whether in Lebanon or the UAE, where they are pushing us to innovate with AI. And this is if you ask me today, what keeps you extremely excited on the business you've built, is I see the change in the next 2 years to a new world of insurance. I see a complete disruption, a complete AI, a complete peer-to-peer insurance, so a complete avatar of you on your policy. So this is what really keeps me excited on seeing what's next on insurance.
When you think about a young person also embarking on a potential entrepreneurial journey, you had shared some advice about take money whenever it's available to you. And you've shared quite a few of the mistakes you've made that you've said to avoid. I just wanted to see if there was any other advice that you think.
Take mentors.
Take mentors.
Take mentors. The most important thing is find mentors, find people don't be afraid of finding the best people, wherever they are. And
and how do you go about that journey personally?
Personally, I love reading about successful people. So it's extremely important to read. If you want to be an entrepreneur, read about entrepreneurs, understand their business, and then I always see who you want to be. I mean, who is the most look-alike? Who is the better version of you? And then start knocking on his door until he opens. And eventually he will open.
Roger, it's been a tremendous pleasure sitting with you today. There's a few things that shine through in our conversation that have gotten me thinking as well as very excited. One, you exhibit, I think, the most important feature of any entrepreneur, which is optimism. That comes through in everything you say. So it's amazing. Every time I asked a question about a not positive situation, you somehow always saw the silver lining in it and the opportunity. So that is, I think, wonderful learning for all of our viewers and listeners. The other is, it's obvious that you're continually learning. You talked about it in the books, but you talked about it in the AI and in the developing everything else. And I think that's also a feature that in a fast-changing world is at the basis of success. And so I can definitely see why you've come along such a long way. And then what comes through immediately is this crazy passion for what you're doing, which I love. From the moment I shook your hand, you were so energized and excited about the journey that you're on, and very happy to admit the mistakes and the faults even when you had them, which also is just tells us a lot about your mindset. So I think there's so much to learn from you, and I really appreciate your time today and taking time out of your schedule to share some of those learnings with our listeners. And it's great to sit across from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.